Greetings, everyone. This is Mandilore, and I come to pay respects to the most innovative musician in our history who had recently passed away. His name is Lester William Pulsfus, famously known as Les Paul. If for those who do not know, Les Paul created the first solid body guitar. He is also the man who created the idea of overdubbing or multi-tracking, which is very famous in recording styles today. He also he created the delay effects, such as tape delay. Now, delay gives you kind of like an echo, and the echoes you hear in songs, kind of think back to this man because he's the one who invented that, and he also invented the phasing effects. His innovation talents has also went into his style of playing as well. And he had also recorded with his wife, Mary Ford, in the 1950s, and they had sold over 6 million records, I believe, as from what the information states. Now, I'll talk a little bit about his history. Les Paul invented the first electric guitar, which is called the log, out of 4x4 wood. He created it in 1939. Gibson Company showed no interest in this until Leo Fender, the man behind Fender Corporation, came up with his own version of it. And Gibson decided to capitalize on this idea, since they know Les Paul was the one who invented it, and they made their own electric guitar, in which we know as today is the Les Paul Standard, which at the time it was called the Gold Top. Alright, moving on. Now, for his recordings, when I was mentioning about the overdubbing, how he did it, now back then, he experimented in his garage, and he made a song called Lover When You're Near Me, and it featured him playing like 8 different parts on the electric guitar. Some of them recorded at half speed, so they're kind of played at like a variety of speeds. And this was the first ever song to use that multi-tracking technique. Now, at the time, the recordings were usually made with magnetic tape, but he did it with acetate discs. And how he did it, he said Paul would record a track onto a disc, then record himself playing another part with the first. He built the multi-track recording with overlaid tracks, rather than parallel ones as he did later. There is no record of how many takes were needed before he was satisfied with one layer and moved on to the next. Oh yeah, also note, at the time in the 1930s, Adolf Hitler had also marketed a solid body guitar in the 30s. It's a random fact that happened to come up and I didn't really know about. Moving on. Apparently, Mary Ford would eventually divorce Les Paul due to the demands of the acts. Kind of like, it's similar to bands who would like break up because of touring conditions. It was kind of a similar thing, because stuff like, that kind of things were going on at the time. As we move on, he also hosted a radio and television show called The Les Paul Show on NBC. And now, in the late 1960s, he went into semi-retirement, but he did kind of play here and there. Also, Les Paul has been presented several awards. He has received the Grammy Trustees Award for his lifetime achievement. In 1988, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Jeff Beck. And there was also the Les Paul Award established in honor of his name. and in 2005 he had been inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. In 2006, he was inducted to the National Broadcasters Hall of Fame, and he was named an honorary member of the Audio Engineering Society. So, all I can say is, as this man had been in big inspiration, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be making the music that I make today, because I play the electric guitar. I use multi-tracking recording. I use digital, delay, and I use some phasing effects. Everything that I use today, well, not everything, but everything he has made, I use today. So if it wasn't for him, all the stuff that I could do in these video game metal remakes and some of my original recordings, it would not even be possible if it wasn't for Les Paul. And so that's why I came to my respect. Sadly, Les Paul would die on August 13th, 2009. He died of pneumonia, and he died in the hospital. Many musicians would come to pay respects, just like how I am now. I want everybody, especially, mainly those who also play the electric guitar, also are, audio engineers, people who do recording, multi-track recordings. I want you to pay your respects to this man. Thank you. This has been Mandilore. I hope you've enjoyed this tribute, and rest in peace, Les Paul.